Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. First up was Super Bowl Sunday. Gary and I personally aren't big football fans or really sports fans in general, but we do like to watch the Super Bowl for the halftime show, the commercials, and it's a big game, and honestly we just like the snacks. So I didn't make a lot this year, though. I wasn't feeling that great, and like I said, it was just the two of us, so I only made a few little things, but let me show you what I made real quick. All right, so here's pretty much everything I'm going to make. First up, I decided to do some guacamole. I had an avocado that needed to be used up, so I'm going to mash that up with some chopped tomato, lime juice, a little salt and pepper. And then Gary requested my dad's Catalina wings. I've shared how I make these before on my channel. I'll link the video in the description box below for you. To make those, I need some chicken wings, butter, Catalina dressing, Tabasco, and then some kind of seasoning. My dad likes to use the Mrs. Dash garlic and herbs. I didn't have any, so I'm going to use this Kinder's garlic and herb. Then I found this Utz like football mix. I think I found this at the Dollar General store. I can't remember for sure though, but I think that's where I got it. And last but not least, I'm going to do some sliders. So I've got some of these Pepperidge Farm Hawaiian slider buns, some ground beef, and then I'm going to do some lettuce, tomato, cheese, all the fixins. And then these Super Bowl themed plates and napkins, I'd got those at Publix. So here is our little spread. I took that like party mix, put it into this little football shaped bowl, added the homemade guacamole that I made on the left, and on the right, that's just some jarred salsa I had in the fridge that I needed to use up. We've got the sliders and then the wings with some blue cheese for Gary for dipping, and those were our snacks that we enjoyed while we watched the Super Bowl. The next day, I just wanted something really easy and quick for dinner. If you saw my last grocery haul, you saw that I picked up some Tyson frozen chicken strips on sale at Kroger. So I just decided to cook those up in the air fryer. I had that with a salad, and Gary asked if I would mind making him a wrap out of the chicken strips. So I just took some lettuce, cheese, chopped up tomato, and mixed it with some ranch dressing, and then added in the cooked chicken tenders, put it in a wrap, and then just grilled the wrap on top of the stove in a skillet, and served that with some of the Cape Cod kettle chips and some pickles for him. And that was our dinner this night. The next day was Mardi Gras, and although we don't really celebrate Mardi Gras, I love, and Gary loves, Cajun food, seafood, so it's a good excuse for us to make it. So I'm going to start out by making some Maque Choux, and there are so many different recipes for this, so many different ways to make it. Here's just how I made it, and I will put a recipe very similar to what I did in the description box below for you. In this skillet here, I've got a couple slices of bacon. I just cooked them up. I chopped the bacon first, cooked it until it was crispy, and then removed the bacon. I'm going to set that to the side. In the remaining skillet, I left that bacon grease in there. I'm going to add in some chopped onions and then bell pepper. I'm going to use red and green bell pepper. Season it with a little salt and pepper, and then I'm going to cook this for about 5 to 7 minutes or so until the veggies are tender. Next, I'm going to add in my corn. Now, you can use fresh, of course, that would be best. I didn't have any. I've got canned on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. And I used one regular size can of corn, which is what, like 14 ounces, and then I use an 8-ounce can. Next, I'm going to add in some minced garlic. Now, for seasonings, you can use whatever you'd like. I'm going to use this Slap Ya Mama. This is the first time I'd used it. I've seen, like, what is her name? I think Brittany, Khamille, and britscookin on Instagram use them. And they're both ladies from Louisiana, so I figured, hey, I can't go wrong with that. And then I've got some of this Essence of Emerald seasoning on hand. And I mean, Emerald in New Orleans, duh. So I had to use that in this. Now, I'm going to add in some chicken stock. I've got this chicken bone broth on hand. So I'm going to add that, and then I'm just going to bring this to a boil and then reduce it to a simmer and cook it for maybe about 20 minutes or so. This is what it looked like when it was done. I'm going to add that cooked bacon back in, give that a stir, and then that's it. Now, like I said, there's many different recipes for this. I've seen people add like jalapenos, tomatoes, heavy cream. You can do whatever you prefer. I just wanted to keep it a little lighter and not use the cream tonight. To go along with the Maque Choux, I made some grits. I just used the Quaker quick 5-minute grits. I cooked them according to the package instructions and then added in a little pat of butter and a splash of milk. All right, now that we've got our sides working, I'm going to start on the main part of the dish, which is a blackened catfish. We're going to do a Cajun creamy crawfish sauce. So in this skillet, it's on about medium-high heat. Had some avocado oil heating up. I'm going to add in my catfish fillets. I've already seasoned the first side. I'm going to season the second side the same way that I did the first, which is just to use some blackened seasoning. I'm using Kroger brand. You can use your favorite brand, or you can make your own blackened seasoning. We're going to cook that for about 3 to 5 minutes per side. And then just cook it until it's, blackened, golden brown, and cooked to your liking. Now, the last time I made catfish, somebody felt inclined to leave a comment saying, "Ooh, nasty, catfish is a muddy fish. Why would you use that?" Because that's the dish. It's blackened catfish. And because people in my family have been eating catfish for generations, and it's fine. If you don't want to use catfish, don't use it. Use some other kind of fish. If you don't like seafood, maybe use chicken. You're in your kitchen, use what you like. So once the catfish was done, I just removed it to a separate skillet, set it to the side. We're going to get started on our sauce. The recipe for this will be linked in the description box below, so check that out. Now, in this skillet, I didn't wipe it out or anything because we've got that good flavor from blackening the catfish in there. I am going to add in some chopped bell pepper. I've got some red and green, and then some of that chopped onion. And then if you've been with me for a while, you know I detest celery with a fiery passion, but I am trying to incorporate it slowly. And so I chopped up a little bit of celery, and as you can see, I tried to make the pieces as tiny as I possibly could. Now my pan was super hot. I turned it down, but it was still hot from searing that catfish. So I added in a little water, just to kind of cool the pan down, and so my veggies wouldn't scorch. I'm going to let those cook for about 5 to 7 minutes until they're good and tender. And I forgot to mention, I also added just a little bit of salt to those vegetables. That also helps get them tender. It draws the moisture out. So I'm going to add in some minced garlic and then go back in with the same seasonings I did with the Maque Choux, which is that essence of emerald and the Slap Ya Mama, and just season to taste. And again, use whatever seasonings you like. I'm going to give that a stir, and then it's time to add in the heavy cream. Now, I've been wanting to try this plant-based cream. It was on sale at Kroger this week, so I grabbed it. I'm going to add that pretty much this whole container. I think this is a 16-ounce container. I'm going to give this a stir and then bring this to a simmer and simmer this for about 5 to 7 minutes until it gets thick. Once it's thick, it's time to add in the crawfish. I've got a package of crawfish tails. These are frozen, so I'm going to add that. Now, I messed up here. I should have drained the crawfish. They did have some moisture in it, of course, from being frozen and then thawed, so it kind of made my sauce split a little bit. If you don't want to use crawfish, I know they can be kind of hard to find, especially if they're not in season. They can be a little pricey, so you could use crab. You could also use shrimp. So I'm going to add that crawfish tail, give it a stir, and then just cook this for a couple minutes. I'm just warming the crawfish tails up, and at the end, I added in a little bit of chopped fresh parsley. Here are the plates. So to serve it up, I laid down some of the grits, added the catfish, added that crawfish cream sauce, and then garnished it with some chopped green onions. For the Maque Choux, I garnished it with a little bit of chopped parsley, and this was delicious. Both Gary and I absolutely love this. I mentioned before on my channel that there's a restaurant. I know they have several different locations, but the one we go to is outside of Nashville, Tennessee in Franklin. It's called Cajun Steamer, and they have a dish that's almost exactly like this, except they stuff the catfish with the seafood stuffing, and it is by far my favorite, but it's pricey, so it was a lot cheaper to make this at home. I got the catfish on sale, got the crawfish tails on sale, so seafood and other, I know I've said this before, but seafood, steak, kind of pricier things, watch your sales. And if you can, get them when they're on sale. And that way, when you have a special thing like Mardi Gras or a date night, Valentine's Day, you can enjoy things that are a little bit more pricey, but it's more budget friendly. But yeah, this was delicious. And side note, Gary could not, which normally if I try to use like almond milk or anything like that, he can pick it up. He could not pick this up at all. He absolutely loved the sauce. And in fact, I was like, I tried something new with the sauce, and he was like, don't tell me, I don't want to ruin it. So I'm definitely going to try that plant green in different recipes because it turned out really well. The next day was Valentine's Day, and I'd had it on the meal plan to make carbonara with scallops, but we kind of had a crazy hectic Valentine's Day. Pepper had a little procedure, nothing major. He just had a dental cleaning, but he had to have a few teeth removed, and then he had to have one of his toenails removed. So, taking him, picking him up, getting the instructions, getting his medicine, getting the cone, getting him in the cone, which the feisty little chihuahua was not happy about the cone. But anyway, when it came time for dinner, I was like, yeah, I'm not in the mood to cook. So I placed an order. Steak tips sounded good to Gary and I. So he went and got it for us. Bless his heart. Lord love him. He waited forever. With it being Valentine's Day, of course, they were super busy. I did not get a picture of it. I apologize. But like I said, we got their steak tips. We get them with no sour cream and no gravy. So it's just like steak tips, sauteed onions and mushrooms. And then we both got salads for our sides, and we both got loaded mashed potatoes for our sides. And that was our Valentine's Day. A couple months ago, I found some shrimp marked down at Kroger. It was an amazingly good price, and I had it in my freezer. I needed to use it up, so I decided to make some shrimp tacos. Now, I kind of loosely followed a recipe for shrimp tacos I'd made several months back. Saw it on Instagram. The lady's Instagram name is Plated by D. Like, everything she makes looks amazing, and I've tried a few of her things so far, and we've enjoyed them. So I'll link her Instagram down in the description box below for you. Like I said, I made a few changes to it, but I pretty much followed it. I'm going to start out by making the coleslaw so that can sit in the refrigerator for a little bit. To a bowl, I'm going to add in some mayonnaise. Next, I'm going to add in some fresh lime juice, followed by some honey. And as you can see in my little honey bear here, it's a little crystallized. Don't worry, it's totally fine to use your honey if it's crystallized. I just pop it in the microwave for a few seconds to loosen it back up. Now we're going to add some seasoning. I'm using the Kinder's all-purpose seasoning again. And then hot sauce. Gary loves the Valentina brand hot sauce, so I'm going to use that. You can use your favorite, of course, and just add as much or as little as you want. So there you can see I gave it a taste. I was happy with where it was. So I'm going to add in some coleslaw mix. I just kind of eyeballed the amount of coleslaw mix that I wanted. Once I got that really well mixed up, I'm going to place that into the refrigerator covered while I make the rest of dinner. Now, here's where I kind of strayed from Dee's recipe a little bit. I had some semi-homemade ranch dressing. I call it semi-homemade because I just use the Hidden Valley Ranch seasoning and make it according to the package instructions. But I had some of that left over, and I really needed to use it up, so I decided to make just a quick chipotle ranch. So I added that to a bowl. I took just a tiny little bit of almond milk, gave it a little swish to get the rest of the ranch out of that jar, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of chipotles and adobo until I'm happy with the amount of heat, and then that's it for the sauce. I'm going to pop that into the fridge. Now, in this bowl, I've got my shrimp, and I just took some shrimp. I think they were large shrimp. I cut them in about half just to make it easier to eat the tacos. If you don't like shrimp, you could use chicken, any other protein. I'm going to add a little bit of avocado oil, and then for seasonings, I'm again using that Kinder's all-purpose seasoning as well as some Old Bay. I'm going to give that a stir, and then again, I just allowed that to sit and kind of marinate while I made the rest of dinner. Now I'm going to get started on the side dish. I tried a new recipe called taco rice. Of course, it will be linked in the description box below for you. In this little sauce pot, I have some avocado oil. I heated up on medium heat. I'm going to add in the rice, and the recipe didn't say to do this, but I rinsed the rice under cold water in a fine mesh strainer. And then you just want to give that a stir and cook that for about 2 minutes until the rice starts to get toasted. At that point, I'm going to add in the chicken stock. I'm using some water and chicken bouillon. Now, I believe I halved the recipe, so I used a small can of the Maque corn. I drained that. Once I've added that, we're going to add in the seasoning. So we're going to add in some chili powder, cumin, some garlic powder, dried oregano, then ground black pepper, followed by salt. And it might look like I'm adding a lot of salt here, but this was only a 1/4 teaspoon measure, so it was only a teaspoon of salt. It just kind of looks like more, me adding multiple times. But anyway, I'm going to give that a stir, and then we are going to bring this to a boil. Once it's at a boil, we're going to cover it, reduce it to a simmer, and cook it for about 18 to 20 minutes. And then you want to take this off the heat, leave the lid on. Don't take the lid off. After it sits with the lid on for 5 minutes, we're going to add in some chopped cilantro and then fluff it up with a fork. Now, I am going to warm up and kind of char my tortillas just a little bit. I've got these La Banderita carb counter fajita size tortillas. Just use whatever kind you prefer. In a dry skillet, you don't need any oil or anything. And I've got this skillet on right at about high heat. You just want to cook these for a couple minutes per side until they start to get golden brown like that. And then I'm going to remove them from the skillet. In this same skillet, again, it's on just under high heat, added some avocado oil. I'm going to add in my seasoned shrimp. And these took like no time at all to cook. Shrimp cooks fast anyway. And then I'd cut these in half, so it just took a couple minutes. Once the shrimp was cooked all the way through and had turned pink, I'm going to remove that to a separate little bowl and then assemble our tacos. All right, so here's everything that I'm going to use to assemble the tacos. I've got the coleslaw we made, the chipotle ranch, some shredded cheddar cheese, some Valentina hot sauce if Gary wants to add it, and then I diced up some avocado and tomatoes. Here is that finished taco rice, and we really enjoyed the taco rice. It was delicious. I would make that again. And then kind of spur of the moment, last minute, I decided I wanted some refried beans, so I just had a can of the Old El Paso fat-free. I just warmed that up in the microwave with a little water, salt, and some taco seasoning. And here is my plate. To assemble the tacos, I just added everything to those warmed up taco shells, have the rice and beans, and then here's a picture of Gary's plate. He ate later than I did after he got home from the gym. As you can see, it's pretty much the exact same thing, just a little more of the rice, one more taco, and then for his refried beans, I added a little of the shredded cheddar cheese on top when I reheated it for him, and that was our dinner this night. It was delicious, so good, and it was a quick and easy dinner. I mean, I know there were multiple steps to everything, but really it took right at about 30 minutes start to finish to put everything together. For the last dinner in this week's video, we had it on the meal plan for Friday to grab takeout, and pizza sounded good to both of us, so we ordered Papa John's. Gary wanted the Philly cheesesteak pizza, and I wanted the pepperoni pizza. And even though it's just the two of us, we normally get two larges. I mean, sometimes we'll get mediums, but if we can get a good sale, we'll get two larges, and that way we can eat on it for a few days for lunch, not have to worry about, you know, cooking lunch for us. And then we got their little chicken poppers, or I think now they call them like unsauced boneless wings or something. But we got those, and that was our dinner this night. All right, that is it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video and got some dinner ideas from it. If you did like it, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.